there, everyone. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Amber.
We're identical twin sisters from Southern California. While we may look exactly alike, sometimes we think that's all we have in common.
We invite you to grab a cup of coffee
Or a glass of wine.
and hang out with us for a little bit.
This is #Twin Life Podcast.
Always with the clap.
All right. Hello. Hello, twin.
Hi. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much again for listening to the #Twin Life Podcast. We are so happy to have you guys here, and we've got a pretty cool episode for you guys today. It kind of ties into the fact that not only was it Women's International Women's Day, was last week, right? It was last week. It's also international.
Well, it's 2 weeks from when they're going to listen to us.
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks from when you guys listen to us. It's also Women's History Month, so that is pretty cool. But in that light, we have a topic today that kind of still shows that we have some progress to make in relation to women. But before we hop into that, please make sure you guys subscribe, do a review if you haven't already. Please follow us on our social medias. You can see those in either the description box if you're watching us on YouTube, or in the show notes. If you haven't already, hit the bell so you can get notified when we have a new episode on YouTube. Please go ahead and do that. And yeah, connect with us. Let us know what you guys think about our episodes. We love hearing from you.
Woo.
Yay. So anyways, twin, how's your week been?
My week has been good. We definitely had some technical difficulties when it comes to this podcast situation today, which is annoying. I feel like it never can just the last few times, I can't say never. The last few times I basically just plugged in my equipment and hit record and we were good.
Yeah.
And now today, for some reason, plugged in the equipment, doesn't work. So I think it might have to do with the update. There was an update that my MacBook did between the last podcast and this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what it has to do with it. So now I'm going to have to order a new box, which I'm not totally upset with because this one's kind of bulky and everything's the cords are kind of long and stuff. So
a new box.
Yeah. So I have the sound mixer box.
Oh.
Because yours, or maybe I should just order one of those cords where my mic, it's a mic cord that will plug right into my, USB right into my computer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually think I have one of those in storage.
I think you do. That might be a plan because that'll be cheaper one, but the only difference is I can't mix the sound. I had it perfectly mixed so that all I did was plug it in and it was always the exact same sound.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's a little bit too behind the scenes, but I did take Phoenix to his workout. I'll get to how the first one ended up at the end of this episode, but we did take him to day 2 of his workout, and it ended up being really good. It's a strength and conditioning class. I think I talked about it last episode. We did take him to a strength and conditioning class twice now, and it ended up being really fun the second time. He had so much fun. And his coach, she was wow, look at all this energy. I was yeah, this is who he normally is. I don't know who that child was that we brought with us last time. That was somebody else's child. He literally was so pouty and whatever. And we finally actually got to the bottom of it. Apparently there's this little girl in his class that calls him names, specifically Chicken Phoenix. And she thinks it's funny. She tells him to shush, and she just is not very nice. And so it's making it so he doesn't like to go to school. So I guess he was dealing with that day. And so he was super grumpy, and he had been really grumpy for 3 or 4 days. And finally I sat down, I was what is wrong? What is wrong with you? And he's well, I don't want to go to school. And whenever he says he doesn't want to go to school, it's because he's been dealing with something and he just doesn't want to. He loves going. So when he says he doesn't want to go, it's really weird, especially if it's more than one day in a row. So we talked about that. We got that figured out. And he was yeah, I just didn't want to go because of this girl. So I believe Derek talked to his teacher about it and we're going to address it. So yeah.
Good.
How's your week been?
Good. It's been full. First thing is I got a new MacBook.
Woohoo!
Very excited about that.
So you have all advanced technology, and my technology is pooping out on me. So
okay, I just got a brand new. Just not to nerd out too much, because I think Blake and I watched like 7 or 8 different videos on which MacBook, which computer I should get, and I was bouncing between getting a new MacBook Air and getting a Surface Pro. And
I'm so glad you didn't get a stupid Surface Pro.
I landed on the MacBook Air for many reasons that I will not share with you guys. If you want to know why, maybe I'll do like a little this is why I chose my MacBook Air video. But
yeah,
I decided to pick this one. There was some shenanigans with it because we ordered it from Best Buy. I don't know why we didn't just order it from the Apple Store. I don't know why we did that, but we ordered it.
I think it was because remember I told you we got an open box.
Yeah, so we were on.
Derek and I did it.
Yeah, so we were on the Best Buy website anyway. So I guess maybe that's just why we decided to order it from Best Buy. We should have ordered it from Apple, but we ordered it from Best Buy, and we ordered it from like a specific store that was here, and it ended up where it didn't come. Like they said that it was like delayed or something. And we were like, delayed for what? Like, what is it delayed for? Because we were going to just go buy it and pick it up from the store, but it said on the Best Buy website that none of the there's only one location that had the rose gold color, but not in the storage size that I want, because I didn't want to get the huge storage size. I just got like the regular 256 gig. They have a 512 gig. It's like $300 more. I don't need all that storage. I have 200 gigs of iCloud storage. I don't need another 500 gigs of storage on my computer,
and an external hard drive.
And I have a terabyte external hard drive. So I was just like, I don't need that's so much. That's all the storage. Oh, let me silence my things here. So we ended up can you hear my computer pinging?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it on silent. So
just press the volume down all the way.
No, but if I do that, can you hello? Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize that's how it I was like, if I turn it down.
Obviously, we're still learning.
Yes, I literally just got it. So anyways, long story short, we ended up just going into Best Buy. And when we got to the Best Buy that we thought had it, because the other location that was closer to us, they said they didn't have any on the website. So we drive to the further one, and they're like, yeah, we don't have that size. We have 4 of the bigger ones, but none of the smaller ones. And Blake was kind of like, well, let's just get the bigger one. It's fine. I'm like, but I don't need the bigger one. I'm not going to pay $300 more. I don't need that. So we ended up, the guy ends up looking on his little phone and was like, there's 21, they have 21 of those at the other location. And I was like, we literally went on the website this morning and it didn't show any, they said they didn't have any. So it was like a big situation. We had to call back.
Maybe they got a delivery.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they got a delivery today, and most likely they would have updated us sometime, or not today, but that day. They would have updated us and said, well, this location near you has one, like, we'll have it delivered to you tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But, like, we were just getting impatient because we had already waited, like, 2 days. Like, we expected it to come the next day, and then it was, like, 2 days later. So, anyway, so we got the new MacBook. But the coolest thing that I did this week was this thing called March for a Million, which was this march put together by this guy that Blake and I both actually work with. And I'm on the advisory board for this community center that they're going to build in Indianapolis. And they put together this march, and it was basically just like a bunch of Christians getting together, and like we marched from the north, the south, the east, and the west into the center of Indiana. And Indiana is one of the most, if not the most central state in the country. I think it's almost smack dab in the middle of the United States. And the city of Indianapolis is in the center of Indiana. So symbolically, we did that. And there was a big like praise and worship. They put like a big praise and worship concert on the steps of the World War II like monument. There's Civil War. There's a Civil War monument in the middle of Indiana. In the middle of downtown Indiana. It's like on this circle, and they somehow got permits for us to be standing on these steps singing like praise and worship music in the middle of the city, and it was very, very cool and a lot of fun. So we got to do that. So that was really cool. It's the first year they've ever done it, and I've never been like a person to do like marches or anything like that, and but it was really cool. So we did that yesterday. So it's been kind of a like an interesting, I don't know, interesting week. So
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, when I saw your Instagram story, I was like, oh, that looks cool. Like, haven't been able to do big gatherings like that, and probably won't be able to for another few months here in California. So it looked like a lot of fun. I wish I could have gone or something.
Yeah, it was outside, and Indiana has lifted they had a mask you had to wear a mask outside in Indiana for a long time when you were downtown, and they lifted that ordinance a few weeks ago. So we were able to like gather outside and social distanced and everything, but it was still pretty awesome. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So,
all right, well, let's get into our topic. Okay, I'm very excited about this topic, honestly. And I feel like we do a pretty good job of like commentating on social issues, but kind of like not making it too serious, because we're not a political podcast. We're more of like a social commentary podcast when it's relevant, right? So like with The Bachelor, there's so much to dive into with that. So sometimes we'll get on like social issues when it comes to that. But usually we kind of like try to talk about things that are a little bit more lighthearted. So this particular topic it falls in both those categories. And I guess just to like jump into it, Derek actually sent me, it's so funny because since he knows we do a podcast, he's always like on the hunt for like stuff I should talk about. So he's like, he sends me like articles and TikToks and Instagram posts, and he's like, you should totally talk about this on your podcast. I don't talk about everything he suggests. We don't talk about everything he suggests, but it definitely is like, oh, that's cool. So this particular situation set me off. Okay. So I'm literally getting ready to go to my workout at 6 a.m, and he sends me this text message on the way, or an Instagram message like, hey babe, did you hear about this? And I was like, what? It's a picture of, on this woman's Instagram. And at the time the photo had 35,000 views or something like that, or likes, I'm sorry, on Instagram, which is that's not like a bunch, but that's a good amount, right? Especially since when you went to this lady's page, it's not like she was like an influencer. She's like a coach or something for like one of the teams. So basically she says, I don't normally post things like this, but this is a photo of what the women's fitness facility looks like at the NCAA March Madness tournament versus what the men's fitness facility looks like. And you guys are welcome to Google the photo. We'll probably use that photo as our post when we do our post this week. So by the time you're hearing this, you'll be able to see this photo. So go to our Instagram to check it out. But basically, it's like a photo collage. On the bottom, you have the women's facility, which basically consists of a single weight rack. So like, and the highest weight is 30 pounds. For some people, they're like, oh, that's pretty heavy. If you're a collegiate athlete.
There are girls in my F45 class that consistently lift 55-pound dumbbells. So.
I mean, I thought
class.
Yeah, when Amber told me that, I was like, I need to step up my game. Like, I can do like 33. Okay.
Yeah. So,
which I feel like is, I mean, that's not like, crazy, but that's pretty heavy. When most women start at 12 pounds, I feel like 33 is pretty heavy, and I can do it relatively easily. Right. So, so when I was looking at that, I was like, well, are they going to share? And by the way, I think Derek told me there's 24 teams or 30, some ridiculous number of teams.
So and start at 24 and they knock them down to 16.
To 16, yeah.
And 4, yeah.
Yeah. So 16 teams, 12 players on each team, right? And they have to share a rack of like, 4 dumbbells, and the highest weight is 30. So like, what are they going to rotate the two 30-pound dumbbells between them? Like, that makes no sense. And all it had dumbbells and mats. And I think the biggest thing that annoyed me was yoga mats. Like, all women do is do yoga. Like, that's all we do. We just do yoga and meditate. We don't do anything high intensity. We don't lift heavy. We just do yoga, which no shade on yoga, obviously. But like, yoga is considered like very feminine. Like, when men do it, it's like a weird thing. It's like the ballet of freaking fitness, right? Not that it's not hard work, but it definitely is considered like one of the more feminine, quote unquote feminine, workout regimens. So it seemed very sexist to me that they were like, here's some yoga mats, and here's a freaking spattering of weights that we don't think that you'll use. And then here's the men's section, which basically looks like a 24-hour fitness. Like, what? I'm just like, it just baffled me. And this is not like, this is not high schools. This is collegiate athletes. The top, not just collegiate athletes, the top in the country. And this is what we give them. Like, what? So, anyways,
there were
I was watching.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say that I started watching the games yesterday because Derek was like, well, do you even watch the women's basketball? And I was like, no, I don't really watch men's basketball, to be honest, until the finals. And I would watch the women's in the finals, but you have to like hunt down the women's basketball. Like, it's not like when you turn on the TV, the very first thing you see is the NBA games that are on. It doesn't show you the WNBA games they're going to be on. So realistically for me, it's more I'm not that interested in professional basketball in general, unless it's just like baseball, unless it's the World Series or the finals. I'm not really that interested in like watching 150 games throughout the whole year.
Right.
Like I'm not that interested in it. So it's more of that and also accessibility. I would have to do some research to find a WNBA game, to be completely honest, because they don't advertise it.
It's not getting advertised. And the thing too that I was just reading, there's an amazing article that this woman, she kind of went off. This lady wrote in the Washington Post that was breaking down the fact that people. So I thought this, and I was glad that I read this, but that they would say that, hey, like the reason why, people will say the reason why women's sports aren't prioritized is because men's sports are more popular. That's actually not true. Apparently, the women's stadiums, they're big stadiums. They sell out just like the guys do.
Really?
It's just that, yeah, they sell out. It's not like they're just, 10 people in the stands wanting to go see these games. These games actually sell out. People actually really go and see them. And it's sad that it surprises me, but it does, because that's not the narrative that you get told, really. That's not what you really see, is people, quote unquote, don't watch like women's basketball. And they're kind of like in this tier of second rate, priority in college, like all women's sports, whether it's softball, whether it's basketball, women's sports is not as highly revered as men's sports. And, yeah,
even soccer, I was telling Derek, the U.S. women's team in the World Cup
they're the best.
Is gangster. And you don't hear nan about women's soccer in the U.S. until the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even name a female soccer player. And I felt, it's like, and it sounds bad, but it's so much work to research female athletes because we don't see them. Anyways, continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, I was just saying that, like, also the NCAA gets paid for its sponsorships. So, like, if they get put on, like, CBS, TBS, TNT, like those major channels, so basically this says that the men's teams that, like, a men's team that wins one game in March Madness will get $2 million in payout.
Oh, snap.
Because of the sponsorships. Okay? Women's teams don't get anything.
What?
They don't get anything. Nothing. So
the NCAA doesn't pay them for anything.
Yeah.
For winning.
Okay, so a sold out arena at $30 for a single ticket, which is about average for a basketball. Like, some of them are a little bit more than that but not for women's basketball. That's at least $600,000 per game.
Wow.
So, and let's see, it says all told, 274,507 fans attended the 2019 women's tournament, and that's not counting concessions and advertising. So the women's team has millions of dollars in value, but yet they don't get acknowledgement for it. And but it's even in their schools, like women's basketball. There's people crack jokes about women's basketball, like not even just women's basketball, women athletes in general. Like, they're all lesbians, they're all hard, they're not feminine, they're like, just all kinds of things that people say about them, was just not true. Like, there
was a girl I was watching yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, they make up 44% of college athletes. They're half of college athletes, and they don't get they don't get half of the money. So it's weird to think. Granted, two things. One, the women's tournament was in San Antonio. The men's tournament, March Madness, is here in Indianapolis. So the place that it is could have something to do with it. It could. There's something to be said about, well, maybe if it was in another city, there would have been a better place for them to be. But I mean, that's kind of a weak argument, I feel like.
Okay, hold on. This whole time, I thought that they were sharing a facility. That's why they don't have space.
No.
They're not sharing a facility. They're in completely different parts of the country.
Yeah, they just built them a crappy place.
So you're telling me in San Antonio, where the University UT is, Texas State is a hop, skip, and a jump. The UT is a hop, skip, and a jump. And there are high schools who have stadiums bigger than some colleges in Texas. And you're telling me we don't have space?
Nope.
What? So so we don't bury the lead. NCAA came out and said, because this goes viral, and of course people are like, what in the actual... And it really bothers me as a person who's going into the fitness industry and has a very strong passion about female athletes, just in general. We played sports. Being a female athlete in general and being told when I was in high school not to lift heavy because you're going to get bulky, which is a bunch of bull crap. That perpetuates this idea of like, and it literally gets super, to me, it gets so deep. Derek and I talk about all the time about how women, if in any situation, if a woman was to be assaulted, chances are she's going to be weaker than the man she's assaulted by, unless she is trained, unless she is in physical shape. So I feel like by telling women don't lift heavy because you're going to be bulky is perpetuating this idea that we need to be weaker, physically weaker for some reason, which just makes us out here walking around the world vulnerable.
Weaker women are more attractive. Like, you don't want to have too much muscle because it's not attractive. You don't want to have a six pack because it's not attractive. Like, it perpetuates this mindset that weak damsels in distress. That's what you want a man to think. You know, I love you, Steve Harvey, but his thought is like, go to a Home Depot and act like you can't find something and ask a guy to help you. Like, just this mindset that women, in order to attract a man, you have to act like you can't handle your life. You have to act, you need them, you need their help, you need them all the time. You can't do anything by yourself. And just the idea that they thought that, well, these women obviously aren't going to be anywhere near as strong. So they have yoga mats and 30-pound, like 25-pound, 30-pound dumbbells. And that's all we give them. They don't need workout equipment because they're not doing any work. Like,
some of these women, by the way, and Derek was telling me this because Derek played collegiate basketball. Okay. He's like, women that play basketball, they're not shorter. No. These women are giants. Okay. And they may look, and he said, so the other thing that Derek was saying too, was that one of the things about, okay, well, let me get to my first point before I tangent off. If you're 6'5", 230 pounds, and you're a woman, you're a big girl. Okay. Yeah. You're big. Do not tell me that I'm not going to lift as heavy as homeboy over here, who's, 6'1" and is the freaking point guard. He's not deadlifting 215 pounds. I bet she's deadlifting 215 pounds though.
Yeah.
So to say that, like, that's not even a thing. You know what I'm saying? And like, okay, so Derek and I were talking about this, and he was just saying, he's like, one of the reasons he doesn't watch women's basketball is because it's quote, what he said is, it's very technical. It's very like, here's the play, put a screen, pass the ball, shoot, it's going to go in, box out, shoot, the ball to go in, because women may have like a 90% shooting average because we're very technically accurate when it comes to shooting. And he's like, it's going to be in perfect form. It's going to be this. Whereas the men, they just kind of go out there and just like throw the ball up and hope it goes in. Don't care about the form, throw their bodies on each other, elbow each other, play crazy. They play super wild, right? And that's more entertaining than watching people play a game up and down the court, always make the shot, do perfect form, run the perfect play, do this and that. And I'm like, so we find it boring because they played the game. It was how it was meant to be played.
Yeah.
I'm confused by that. They play the game too, quote, perfect. Okay. If that was the case, by the way, if they were playing such a perfect game, then no one would ever win. It would always be tied. First of all. And second of all, I don't find men's basketball is a lot of like one person coming up and down the court, always has the ball, never passes, does nothing else, is showing off, and then misses the shot. And then they all run back to the other side. That's what men's basketball is like. Nobody ever makes shots. They take a billion shots they shouldn't take. It's just like
it is very sloppy. Technically, very sloppy men's
so
basketball.
sloppy. Men's basketball is so sloppy, and the other thing too, I was gonna say is that one of the big things I think about women's basketball, and this is why a lot of people don't want their girls to play soccer, is because they're like, I don't want to see my little girl, kicking somebody in the shin or shoving them down to get a ball, because that's not what my little girl, that's my little girl. And it's like, if more women played the way the men do, which I would argue that if you put these women in a basketball team in freaking 24 hour, they would be boxing out dudes, getting elbows to the gut, and they would make their shot because they have better form.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. There's so many things wrong with this, and it just like it's so much bigger than just women whining because they didn't get better equipment. And then the NCAA tries to fix it, okay? Because they said, well, so they're shuffling around in San Antonio trying to figure out what they're going to do, because they clearly pointed out in a video that went viral on TikTok, y'all say we don't have space. Y'all say it's not money. You say it's space, but here's all the space. Can we put a gym right here? So I guess that's what they did. When I tell you the gym, I have friends that have better gyms in their house than this gym, quote unquote, that they tried to put up. They put up like 8 bench press stations and like 2 squat racks.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's still pathetic. Like, I don't know.
I mean,
I'm hoping.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm hoping that that was just like them putting forth an effort and starting. Oh, the other thing they said was that they weren't planning on putting out the quote weight room for the women until they got to the final 16. So they had that already planned, but they were waiting. I'm like, so the men get to have a fitness center when they're in the same ranking as the women, but the women have to wait until you've shown that you're worth our time. What message does that send?
They have to earn their gym.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, you were going to make a point, and
yeah, I guess the last thing I was going to point out, I guess before we do our go girls and no girl, or our go girl or no girl, is on top of everything else, they're also putting these people in a bubble, which means that they have to be COVID tested, right? The men, not only are they being COVID tested more often, but they get they have the best testing. The women are only doing like antibody testing. Yeah. So the men are getting better testing. They're getting the more accurate testing than the women are.
What? I didn't even know about that.
So they're getting like the antigen test, which is the antibody test, which is not as accurate as the actual like PCR COVID test, which is the one where it's either the one they swab the inside of your nose. I think it's that one. The one they swab the inside of your nose, which is what most productions are using. So the men get the better, higher end COVID testing, and the women get like the not as great. Not saying that the COVID testing, like COVID test is a COVID test, I feel like, but there's definitely been a lot of false positives in the athletic world because of them not using the correct or the same COVID tests. So for some reason, the women don't get the same COVID testing as the men do. That makes no sense. Across the board, they should all get the same test, whether it's the janky kind or the super good kind. Men and women should all be getting the same testing. Again, it's literally, they can tell us till they're blue in the face that it's not about money, but it is. They're putting more money and more effort, and they want to keep perpetuating this mindset that men are drawing more money from sports than women are, but it's not that. It's that women's sports aren't like revered and advertised and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I will challenge you guys on a closing like note about this. Name 5 women's professional basketball teams. I bet people can.
The only one I can name is the Sparks.
Yep, I bet people can name the one. Sparks. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you can name 5 without Googling 5 women's professional basketball teams, let us know.
At us.
Be like, here you go, twins. These are them.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my, you can go first, right? That's fine.
Okay, so my no girl, and we have to like move quickly because we're going over our time, but this is a good topic, so whatever. My no girl is that, so I started off the podcast by saying that I organized this strength and conditioning like class for Phoenix for him to go to that I found out from some of my other friends who are moms that go to F45. When he went yesterday, which was Sunday, we're recording this on a Monday. When he went on Sunday, he was amazing. I have the cutest videos of him doing all the exercises. He came in with a good mindset. He was excited to go. He told, Derek this morning that he really wanted to go and he can't wait and he misses his coach and this and that. Okay. Super excited, which is the outcome I expected on Wednesday of last week. But no. That was not what happened. We had crying and he sat down and didn't want to participate whatsoever. He was literally he didn't even act like my kid. And when I tell you I was pissed, y'all, this is why it's a no girl. I was raging, okay? Raging. Like the inside of my body was like getting warm. Like if I was literally one of those emojis, like with the brain exploding, but like not in like a mind blown. No, like I was like gonna explode. I was so irritated. I was pissed because I invested time. I was pissed because I know that's not how Phoenix acts. I was pissed because I know how athletic and strong and fast he is. And the fact that they didn't even get to see any of that pissed me off. And then I didn't really feel supported from Derek's point of view. And all of that combination just really infuriated me. And when I tell you I went clear off. So, not my brightest moment, but I was super pissed. I did go and, I mean, I don't even know if Derek and I still necessarily agree on this situation still, but we kind of like agree to disagree. But I did pull Phoenix aside and tell him like, I wasn't really mad at you. It was just a lot of feelings and frustration with you just giving up on just because you were uncomfortable. And I was like, that's not what we do. So he's been saying, when he was little, Derek used to have him say, I'm Phoenix and I can do hard things. So now he started saying that again. So he's like, I'm Phoenix and I do workouts and I can do hard things. So now he's been walking around the house, like having this like, baby little kid affirmations in his head. So it's kind of cute now, but yeah, so that's my no girl. I went clear off on Sunday. So yeah.
My go girl is that I went to the chiropractor this week, which was good. It's a good step in the right direction. If you haven't been to a chiropractor, please go. I've found out some things that I'm just like, okay, that's going to take a lot of work to adjust. Like my neck is very straight and my hips are out of alignment, which I'm pretty sure they've been out of alignment pretty much my whole life. So I'm getting that fixed. The thing that bothered me the most about it was that I did an X-ray of my whole body because I was at the chiropractor. And he said that I have some arthritis in my knee, basically, which twin, by the way, I learned that a meniscus deterioration is just a fancy way to say arthritis in your knee.
It sounds a lot more dramatic when you say it's deteriorating.
Yeah. It just means you have arthritis in your knee, which I bet you every professional athlete on the planet has arthritis somewhere on their body, whether it's their elbows, their back, their knees. So that actually made me feel better because my coach said that to me today. And I was like, oh, that's really all that means is that I just have.
And he made it sound like you're just going to be crippled in the next 5 years and you're going to be walking with a cane.
God bless this chiropractor, but he for sure made it seem like I was going to have to get my knee cut off at 40 if I don't handle this right now. And he
literally said that.
Yeah.
Didn't he say amputation?
He said that if I don't get it taken care of, he just started listing all these surgeries. And I think he's coming from like an MD chiropractic background and not from a physical therapist background, because a physical therapist is going to be like, we want to avoid surgery at all costs. Here's what you can do to help rebuild the muscles around your knee so that you can have mobility and move, right? So he started listing off all these things. And now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like he may have been trying to sell me a little bit on the surgeries, because surgeries are obviously more expensive, right? So anyways, I was really nervous about going to F45 and having to wear this knee brace around and making sure I'm icing my knee and, all that stuff. And I went in today, and when I tell you guys, I'm told I'm not supposed to jump, run, squat, or lunge. And when I say squat or lunge, I can't do any deep squatting or lunging at all.
Yeah. Deeper than 90 degrees.
No, not even 90 degrees. My lunges are more than 90-degree lunges and squats. Like, I can't squat fully 90 degrees. Because when I do that, it's sore. So basically anything that hurts my knees, I can't do. And I was like, what am I about to do in at 45? Like, even my friend,
yeah.
She saw me show up with this knee brace on, and she was like, what are you about to do with this on?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, apparently I can't jump, squat, lunge, or run. She was like, so you can't do F45. And I was like, well, about to find out whether I can or not. And when I tell you guys, I did. I burned like 495 calories in my freaking workout today.
Boom.
I murdered it. And I didn't do any jumping, any squatting, or any running. So it was awesome. I think I did a little bit of a hop in like my burpee. I didn't, instead of jumping into my push-up for, I didn't do there's a bunch of, I'll talk to Ashley about this later. Y'all don't need to know this, but just know that I killed it, and I'm super proud, and I'm excited because
Great job, twins.
Sad. So yay. But on that happy note, please make sure you check our description box and our show notes for everywhere you can get a hold of us, and tune in next week for whatever our interesting podcast will be next week.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll always have a topic, but we don't know what it is right now.
But on that note, we will talk to you guys soon, and thank you always for listening. Bye.
Bye.